Hey guys, Bricks5D here. In the last rotation of the Doom Tower rotation 1, I did make some Doom Tower hard videos showing you how I beat the stages, how I beat the boss, and somehow we got up to Doom Tower hard 100 or so till we got stuck in one of the stages where our accuracy or resist or speed was not up to the levels. So we decided to go farm and more gear and prepare for the next Doom Tower, which is upon us right now. This is Doom Tower rotation 2, and we're currently faced with the Griffin boss. I think that's what it's called. And we'll also be beating other bosses along the way. So I thought before we even start the series, let me show you how I get to this boss. And of course, this video does not need any particular strategy for this first boss. We'll just know that we need to come into this stage 1 or stage 10 of this Doom Tower hard, put any team together, and you will beat this first boss. Whether you're doing it on normal, depending on your level in the game, whether you're a beginner player or a late game player. Currently, I'm logged onto my main account, not the Noob to Pro series. So I do have all the arbiters and the legendary champions to put together a team to beat this boss without a strategy. So no, I'm not going to be talking about strategies that you need for this boss. When we face the boss again at higher levels, we'll be forced to look at his skills, or we might even do it in the end of this video. So I'll show you, if you're struggling with this boss, how you can, what teams you should bring in here. But I wanted to put this video out there to let you know that the Doom Tower hard boss for stage 10 hard does not need any strategy. Fine, you need enough damage to take him down before he counts his turn to 10 and begins to do a crazy amount of damage. And of course, he also transfers your debuffs back onto you if you don't have a block on yourself or something. So we'll be looking at his skills and some ways to beat him, not in this video but in future videos that will be posting about this boss. So I just wanted to continue the series because we kind of ended halfway. We couldn't go past stage 100 in the first rotation. So any bosses that we can beat in the Doom Tower hard, I'll be posting about it, doing a short recording. It might be 10 minutes, might be 20 minutes, depending on how difficult it is. As you can see, this video will be less than 5 or 10 minutes short because this boss is too easy to beat. So if you guys have been waiting for an update for me from the Noob to Pro, I wanted to post one today, but I found out that tomorrow is what you call it, CVC. So a lot of items I needed to upgrade, a lot of champions I needed to take to 60. Because the CVC has personal rewards, I decided to wait. So tomorrow's CVC has personal rewards. I decided to wait to do any update on the Noob to Pro until we make those huge, what do you call it? Those huge upgrades in terms of champion leveling up, because we're building a clan boss team for Brutal. So that's the update on that one. Expect it tomorrow, a new update for the Noob to Pro series. So this is the item that you can get from this Griffin boss, and I use it a lot. So if you don't know what this is the item you need to forge, where is it? Guardian set. And the Guardian set gives the wearer 10% heal every turn, and also allows you to absorb 10% of the damage dealt to your ally champions. So this is what I put on my, what's her name now, Osoga. And this makes her take 10% of all the damage that my allies are hit with. And she takes all that damage and also heals by 10% of every turn. So this is one set that I admire, or I've been farming a lot, because the Griffin can be farmed. Unlike other bosses that you beat them, like the Scarab and the Spider, you don't want to farm them again. Even the Dark Fey and all that. This one, you can actually beat it and farm it again and again and again. So those advanced missions that requires you to do it 10 times, like on my Noob to Pro, I'm currently farming the Griffin 10 times, and that will give us some items to maybe some 3-star to 4-star items to forge, because that account is doing it on the normal Griffin. So I decided to start the Doom Tower series this time on the hard one again, and when we get stuck at any stage, hopefully we get past stage 100, because hopefully people say the rotation 1 is more easier than rotation 2. I guess we're about to find out. We'll put that to the test. You'll be seeing all the updates that I'll be giving every time I beat a new boss for the Doom Tower hard. So if you've not subscribed, make sure you do so you get notification when I do post those Doom Tower hard updates. If you're wondering, okay, you're a newer player and you're currently doing normal, yes, Doom Tower hard videos can also help you in normal. You just require less stats. You just require less requirements in terms of gear and all that. So what I'll be doing, I'll be using Elhade's website a lot, the Rage Stages tool, to check their what do you call it, their stats requirement to beat that boss. So let's quickly take a look at the Griffin a little bit before we end the video out, because I don't want this one to be a long one. I want the first one, stage 10, to be a short video that I put out there and show you that yes, you can beat the Griffin with no strategy. This team I used to beat him, I think, was the team I used from the last time. You know, the game just automatically remembers the team you used last time. This is not a team I put together for this video. I think I just used it last time to beat him. So the game just puts them again for me, and I used it automatically. So boss guide is where you go to read about the boss, so you can find out what this boss does, his skills and all that. So before we end out, let's quickly acquaint ourselves with what he does, because we will face it again and we want to be prepared. This time we are just putting random teams together to beat it. On his A1, he attacks one enemy, that is you, and has a 100% chance of placing feared debuff for that. That's not a bad attack. It seems like a reasonable attack. I remember many bosses in the Doom Tower do a lot of things on their A1. A fear and a 100% chance to place, I mean, just on one enemy is not bad. There are bosses in the Doom Tower that place fear on everybody. I think so. On the A2 though, he transfers all debuffs from him to each enemy. So any debuff that you've put on him, he will transfer it back to you. So if you ask me, the Griffin starts the battle with this skill. So he doesn't start the A1, he doesn't start with the A2, he starts the battle with this skill. So make sure when you go to the Griffin, you allow him use this skill first before you start placing your decreased defense, decreased attack, and decreased speed and all that. I'm sure that he takes a lot of debuffs, so he's not immune to a lot of them. So he attacks and places every debuff on you, fills Griffin's storm meter by 5% for each debuff transferred. 5% storm meter fill is not so much, but if you have a lot of poison on him, if you have, let's say, 5 debuff on him, that's 5 times. So 25% debuff, storm meter fill for the Griffin is not so much. There are bosses who in the Doom Tower, when they do a move like that, they fill up almost their entire storm meter. I think the Spider also. Anyway, so that's not such a bad skill. The only bad part is you will get all your debuff back on you, and if you don't have a cleanse, his next hit will be so much on you. On the third skill right here, he removes all buffs from you and then attacks all enemies. So he will remove all the buffs you have on yourself and then attack you. The buff remover cannot be resisted. Damn. Damage increases by 10% for each buff removed. So this is when you don't want to buff. After he does this skill, he will do this one next. So you don't want Brogni and others to place a lot of buffs, because that will increase the damage he deals on you when this skill is done. So take note of that. This boss usually can be manual, but if you can tank the damage, you don't need to manual it. Let's say you have some shields on you and all that, you don't need to manual it. Now let's see the passive. This is where it gets really interesting and fun, if I might say that. In his passive, he attacks an enemy whenever their HP drops below 50%. So it doesn't matter if it's stunned or not, he will just attack you if your HP drops below 50%, and then places a heal reduction on you. That means you can heal above 50% when it does this. It doesn't say this skill cannot be resisted, therefore you can resist this heal reduction if you have enough resistance on your team that is below 50%. Now this is this interesting one. Adds 1 Skybound buff to Griffin at the start of each turn. That number that counts next to him, next to the health bar, he adds 1 at the start of each turn. Also adds 1 Skybound buff to Griffin whenever an enemy's HP drops below 50%. So this is another reason why you don't want to drop below 50%, even if you can tank it, because him doing this skill, placing heal reduction, will just add 1 extra Skybound. Each Skybound buff increases Griffin's attack by 5%, crit rate by this, crit damage by 5, and speed by 2.5. So eventually, if he ramps up to 10, will ignore shield, block, damage, and unkillable buffs. So that shield that has been keeping you alive, he will begin to ignore it. It doesn't say anything about increased defense, so you can still place increased defense, and it will kind of mitigate that damage that is coming to you from these skills. So when it stacks up to 20%, cannot be blocked or removed. Skybound buffs cannot be blocked or removed. Where is it? Can stack up to 20% skybound buffs, cannot be blocked. Oh, this is just a message that says when it's up to 20, that's the maximum. So you can remove it from him. Whenever Griffin's turn meter is decreased, the turn meter of all enemies will be decreased by same amount. Places turn debuff on for one turn on enemies with fully depleted turn meters. So this is one champion you don't want to bring in here, turn meter reducers. So on your on your masteries, if you have those masteries that decrease boss's turn meter or enemy's turn meter, it will give you problems here. Although it's just for one time, only the first time that you use it, then it's not that much of a big deal. Most people who are playing it on normal, you don't need to go and remaster your champions just to beat Grythion. You still need those champions to decrease turn meter in other parts of the game. So you're not building champions just for Grythion. So you might say, okay, because of Grythion, I will not select that mastery. But if you're building champions for Doom Tower hard, I'll suggest you just select that mastery. We'll check out the mastery tree to see which one we're talking about. By default, Amiga is out of this fight, although he's the same affinity as Grythion, so it can be used, but he's out of this fight. Any champions that can do that much of turn meter decrease, they are out of this fight automatically. So that's something you should know. Turn meter decrease is a no-no, so that's forbidden. So I don't even know if my team had it, but hopefully they did not. Another passive, damage from skills that scale based on enemy max HP. We already know that it is decreased by cannot exceed 10%. All turn meter reduction effects are decreased by 50%, so you can't even do maximum turn meter decrease. And then is immune to all these debuffs over here. Immune to also, is he immune to provoke? Yes, he's immune to provoke. Just wanted to make sure. Is he immune to slow speed? No, he's not. So you can do slow speed on him as long as you know it's not about to be passed on to you. Now, the game always suggests a way for you to beat this boss. So let's see what they have to say about it. So your primary enemy other than Grythion is the Skybound. That number that is counting over here. It's very easy to end up on a ticking clock, as the Skybound offers the Celestial Griffin huge bonus to speed and damage. So this is a boss you want to kill before 10 turns. But as you go higher in the Grythion, in the stage of Doom Tower hard, you discover that you can't actually beat him in 10 turns or less than 10 turns. It might ramp up to 20, but once it's 20, forget it, the battle is done. You will not be able to withstand the hits he does in 20, except you're an extremely high level player and you can have champions that can do it, because he ignores everything, ignores shield and all that. So you don't want this number to go up to 10, 15. Once it's going up to 15, so you want to bring in champions here that can actually do damage. So you don't want to come here and be doing one hit and rely on your War Master or Giant Slayer procs. No, you actually need a lot of damage dealing champions so you can take this boss down before his turns or Skybound gets up to 20, because that will be your worst enemy. So I guess that's the tip that is given for this boss. Say tracking the boss cooldown. Okay, this is another tip. Knowing when he's about to transfer the debuffs back to you, or knowing when he's about to clear your own buff that you placed on your team, is important. So the first time, like I said, I know he removes the debuffs first and places it on you. That's the first skill he does. At least I just fought it and I saw that one's the best skill that he does first. So head over here, read some of the skills of this boss and find out how you can also bring teams here to beat it. Already we know turn meter decrease is not an option. For the teams of the week, we won't see anything here yet because people are just beating it for the first time, but this is the best teams to beat it. We are not looking at the best teams. Let's look at my my clanmates, see what they are using, and also check out the global ranking and see what everybody is using. So it seems like everybody using, what's his name, Iron Brago, Drexter, Brogni is a common champion here. Seal the Drake is also common, and then you cannot forget also, what's her name, she's negative affinity here, Doom Priest. I don't think Doom Priest will be a wise choice here because she's negative affinity. Decrease attack is kind of important here, so Stagnite will be awesome here. Terrell will also be awesome, but Terrell has that decrease turn meter that you might want to turn off. So decrease attack is important for this boss. So those are the best teams. Let's see for global rankings. Let's see what other people are using. Crazy legendaries. Farrakhan the Fat, any ally attack, any champions that can do a lot of attacks. You see, people are using all attack champions here because you want to get him down before he begins to ram damage. Anyways, that's my take on Griffin. I'm going to keep farming him 10 more times and get my keys in for the day. Try it. Don't just ignore the Doom Tower. It has a lot of rewards for you. That's the only reason why we do Doom Tower, so we can get all this bunch of rewards. I already had about 200 energy just for the Doom Tower right now, and I have chickens to go along and some shards that are waiting for us. So hopefully you can also beat the Doom Tower. If you have any issues with any of the stages, always join the Discord and let us know your teams and how we can help you. I'll be doing it all the way up there till we get to the impossible stages where we cannot beat. Together we can beat it. Maybe you can also give me some advice when I get stuck. All right, nice. My name is Brix5D. I just wanted to give this little short video for the Doom Tower hard that I will be starting. This is not a difficult boss to beat. I just wanted to start this series up from the first boss together with everybody that is beating it today. So we see which boss is up tomorrow and beat it together also with new strategies or whatever we can come with to do it. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm out for the night. Good night.